Stop everything you are doing right now and look at your screen because what occurred in the dark of night over the skies of the Middle East has just rendered every piece of conventional military wisdom obsolete. If you are sitting there thinking that the United States and Israel are still the masters of the chessboard, you are living in a dream world that ended exactly 6 hours ago. The mainstream media is terrified. They are currently receiving guidance from the State Department to downplay this, to call it a test, or to ignore it altogether. But I have seen the telemetry. I have spoken to my sources who still have eyes on the theater level data, and the truth is far more alarming than anything you will hear on the evening news. Iran has just crossed the ultimate red line. They didn't just fire a missile, they released a capability that was supposed to be decades away. They have deployed what can only be described as a version of the Satan-2 multi-warhead system, a MIRV-capable hypersonic monster that has sent a shockwave of pure, unadulterated fear through the halls of the Knesset and the Pentagon. You need to see this right now because the title of this video isn't hyperbole, it's a warning. If you think your retirement, your security, or your country's status is safe, you are missing the most critical update of our lifetime. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is the exact moment the balance of power shifted forever and why the unbeatable Israeli Arrow 3 system just met its match in a way that no one is allowed to talk about. To understand how we got to this terrifying midnight launch, we have to look at the context that the talking heads are ignoring. For years, we've been told that Iran is a third-rate power, that their technology is just remastered Soviet junk. But those of us who have spent years in military intelligence, analyzing the actual kinetic shifts in the region, knew better. We watched the Operation True Promise waves. We saw the data from the April strikes where Iran systematically mapped the frequency responses of every Western radar in the Levant. They weren't trying to destroy targets then. They were conducting a live fire rehearsal. They were looking for the holes in the net. And while the media was celebrating a 99% intercept rate, which was a total fabrication, by the way, Iran was downloading the data they needed to calibrate the weapon they unleashed last night. They have been building a case for the end of the American empire, and last night they finally served the papers. But stay with me, because the technical specifics of this Satan-2 variant are what actually changed the math of human survival in the 21st century. Imagine you are standing on a rooftop in Tel Aviv or an observation post in the Golan Heights. The night is quiet, the ceasefire talk is still echoing in your mind. Suddenly the northern horizon doesn't just light up, it ripples. This wasn't a single streak of light, this was a saturation event that defied the laws of physics as we've been taught them. The sound hits you first, not a bang, but a low-frequency hum that vibrates the very marrow in your bones. Then the separation. High above the atmosphere, the primary booster released its payload. This is the moment Israel's Iron Dome and Arrow 3 systems, the most expensive defense network in the history of warfare, became nothing more than expensive lawn ornaments. You see 12 distinct streaks of light, each maneuvering independently. These aren't ballistic arcs, these are evasive glides. They are glowing a violent, hellish purple because of the plasma sheath forming around them as they move at Mach 15. The sky over Israel was suddenly filled with independent re-entry vehicles, each capable of choosing its own target in real time. You could see the interceptors rising to meet them, hundreds of millions of dollars of US-funded technology, and you watched as they simply missed. The Satan-2 technology Iran has now integrated into its Operation Doomsgate protocol doesn't just outrun interceptors, it confuses their logic gates. The skies were orange, the air smelled like ozone, and for 15 minutes the state of Israel was completely, utterly defenseless, but that's not even the most shocking part. What happened when those warheads reached their terminal phase is why the White House is currently in a state of total panic. But here is what is even more alarming. Each of those warheads didn't just carry high explosives, they carried a message to every US base in the region. While the world was watching the fireworks over Israel, our sensors picked up ghost signatures over Al Udeid in Qatar and the naval facilities in Bahrain. The escalation stacking is happening in real time. This wasn't just a strike, it was a total theater-level checkmate. Each layer of this attack is followed by a realization that is even more terrifying. Iran is no longer acting alone. The Satan-2 MIRV technology is a direct signature of the highest level of Russian strategic missile science. Do you see what this means? The axis of resistance has just been upgraded to a superpower proxy. U.S. bases are now being hit by asymmetric electronic warfare that has knocked out our ability to communicate with our carrier strike groups. The economy is beginning to feel the tremor. The petrodollar isn't just under threat, it's being liquidated by the reality of this weapon. The stakes keep climbing. First, it was drones, then it was cruise missiles. Now it is multi-warhead hypersonic gliders. If we respond, we aren't responding to a regional militia. We are responding to a nuclear-capable technological behemoth. The superpowers are silent because they know the truth. The American shield has been shattered. But stay with me, because what comes next is the scenario that the media is trying to prevent you from preparing for. The what comes next speculation is no longer a matter of if, but when. Worst case scenarios are now the baseline for any honest analysis. We are looking at a near inevitability, the total evacuation of U.S. forces from the Middle East, or their total annihilation. If Iran can deploy MIRV technology that can penetrate the most hardened defenses on Earth, then no carrier is safe, no embassy is safe, no city in the West is truly safe from the global reach of this new alliance. We are staring down the barrel of a global economic dark age. If Iran decides to use these Satan-2 variants to close the Strait of Hormuz, the price of oil doesn't go to 150, it stops being sold. Your gas station will run dry in 48 hours. Your grocery store shelves will be empty in 72. This anxiety you feel right now, that is the survival instinct of a generation that has been lied to for 30 years. The media wants you to think this is just saber rattling. I'm telling you, as someone who has seen the kill curves in theater level war games, the saber has already been swung and it has cut through the very heart of Western deterrence. But don't turn away, because the stay with me moment is where we reveal the why, the reason why every empire that attacked Iran was wiped out, and why America is currently following them into the grave of history. Having spent years in military intelligence and analyzing these theater-level conflicts, I can tell you that the specificity of this strike is what signals its authority. We are tracking Wave 88 of the Operation Doomsgate rollout. We know the exact frequency, 432.1 MHz, that was used to blind the Aegis cruisers in the Mediterranean. This isn't guesswork. This is the hyper-specific detail that mainstream coverage will never give you, because they don't have the sources and they don't have the guts. We know that it cost the U.S. $1.2 billion in interceptors last night just to fail to stop a strike that cost Iran less than $50 million. Specificity signals credibility, and the credibility here is devastating. The U.S. is currently outspent and out-teched. The illusion of our superiority is being stripped away in real time, and leaving this video now means going back to the inferior information that will keep you unprepared for the fallout. Now I need you to stay with me, because we are reaching the emotional core of this crisis. You've been told to be proud of our unbeatable military. You've been told to feel secure. But now you feel the anger of being deceived. You feel the grief of watching a world order crumble. This emotional oscillation between the pride of the old world and the fear of the new is exactly what the elites use to keep you distracted. But I'm telling you to keep watching, because by the end of this, you will understand the deferred payoff. I teased the Satan-2 reveal in the beginning, and now you see the full picture. Iran didn't just build a missile. They built an empire ender. The Satan-2 MIRV capability means that the nuclear umbrella that has protected Israel and U.S. interests since 1945 is gone. It's gone. If we can't stop a conventional multi-warhead strike, we cannot stop a nuclear one. This is the truth, harsher than anything you've heard. We are currently living in a post-American world, and last night was the official inauguration of that reality. The cliffhanger we are all facing is this: what will the U.S. do when the next wave, Wave 89, includes active decoys that make it look like 1,000 missiles are coming, instead of 10. The viewer is always chasing a payoff, and here it is. The payoff is the realization that you must become your own source of truth. Every empire that touched the Persian core, from the British to the Soviets, was wiped from the map because they underestimated the strategic depth of Iran. We are currently in the middle of a stress response loop. The media creates a little anxiety, then relieves it with a lie. I am creating the anxiety of the truth so that you can actually prepare. The Satan-2 release overnight wasn't just a military strike, it was a psychological operation that has already succeeded. Israel is in fear, not because they are weak, but because they are smart enough to realize that the shield is broken. The question is, are you smart enough to realize that the mainstream story is a sinking ship? Stay with me, because the next 24 hours will bring the economic counterstrike that will hit your bank account faster than any missile. This is happening in real time. This is history being written in fire. And if you're still watching, you're already ahead of 99% of the population who will wake up tomorrow wondering where their world went. Don't leave. Keep watching, because the truth is just beginning to emerge from the smoke of last night's launch.